The next question comes from community leader.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kucinich. My name is Inhe Choi. I am from Chicago. And I'm with the National Korean American Service and Education Consortium and also with the Korean American Resource and Cultural Center. As we've just heard, whether the factories are from Iowa or Mississippi, whether the workers are immigrants or US born, whether we are black, white, Latinos, or Asian Americans, we're all connected. We're all in a system, economic system, that has been driving down the wages and working conditions down in a race to the bottom. We know that America can do better than that. Instead of pitting people against each other, instead of foreign jobs against domestic jobs, we should really be spending time to try to fix the system so that all workers who work hard every day, so that they're treated in ways that reflect the true values of our shared community values. So Marvi asked you what you would do to enforce the current labor laws. But I'm here to ask you, we know that enforcement isn't enough to deal with the vulnerability that people are living with every day. So I'm here to ask you, what else would you do so that the workers do have true living wage, humane and safe working conditions, and have the right to organize in their workplaces?
Thank you. Thank you. Kamsahamnida. Thank you. This is an opportunity for me to speak to you about a Kucinich economic program. Here it is. Full employment economy. Everyone has a job. Second, not-for-profit health care. Everyone has health care as a basic right. Third, education for all, from age 3 all the way through to and including college, fully paid. The money's there. Fourth, an American manufacturing policy that says that the maintenance of steel, automotive, aerospace, shipping, agriculture, vital to our national economic security, with trade laws that are deeply connected to it, by saying that we renegotiate all our trade agreements so that they're based on workers' rights, human rights, and environmental quality principles. By workers' rights, I mean the following. Imagine this. Imagine every trade agreement that the United States writes has the following: that all workers must have the right to organize, the right to collective bargaining, the right to strike, the right to decent wages and benefits, the right to a safe workplace, the right to be able to sue your employer if you're injured on the job in an unsafe workplace, the right to a secure retirement, the right to participate in the political process. It's important that America has a president who will stand for workers' rights in the trade agreements, not in the future, but now. That's why we should have defeated NAFTA. That's why we need to repeal NAFTA. That's why we need to renegotiate our trade agreements. Our trade agreements must have prohibitions against child labor, slave labor, and prison labor. We must protect the environment. We must protect the air, the water, and the land. You know and I know, everyone here knows, that these trade agreements were written to accelerate the race to the bottom. It's all about cheap labor. As President of the United States, I'll stand for the American people's right to make a decent wage, to have a job, to have health care, and all of the rights that workers have a right to expect in a democracy. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our first group of community leaders. Our second group of community leaders, please join us. The first story will come from community leader
Vern Tegas. I'm a member of Iowa Citizens for Community Improvement. I come from Carroll, Iowa. I'm a small family farmer, and I also work in town. In 1995, hog factories moved into my area, and now we have 30,000 hogs within a 2.5-mile radius of my home. The first thing you notice is the stench. Some mornings when you go outside, the first thing you actually do is vomit. Our Iowa community banded together to pass air quality rules to protect our health from these public toxic gases. However, the factory farm companies exerted their power with our government. Not only our state government, they threw out our air quality rules, but they also exerted pressure on the federal government, and they created protections for the factory farms as well. Our community deserves to have our health and quality of life protected. It's time to put the common good first.
Thank you very much. And your first question comes from?
Representative, my name is Deb Thomas. I'm a community organizer for Powder River Basin Resource Council. I live in Clark, Wyoming. In Wyoming, we've seen the same impacts that these folks in Iowa are seeing, but in addition to factory farms, we have gas fields. The oil and gas companies are turning my neighborhood and hundreds of other neighborhoods across the Rocky Mountain region into toxic waste dumps. Well, they make more money than any other industry in the history of this company. In 2006, a gas well blowout blew 8 million cubic feet of methane and contaminated drilling constituents into our atmosphere and water. The chemicals in those drilling fluids cause cancer and birth defects. And because they have petroleum exemptions from federal regulation, the citizens that are impacted by this crap can't even trace what it's doing to them. They can't even find out why they're getting sick. What we would like to know is, first of all, how can these companies operate like this? How can they foul the very air and water that all of us need to survive? This isn't just about the Rocky Mountain region. This is about all of our clean air and our clean water. Do you agree that the political policies from these private corporations is a threat to our democracy? And what would you do to change that? How would you stop that power?
You know, I hear this story about, it's going on in many places around America, how oil and gas interests are causing massive pollution, or mining interests causing massive pollution, particularly on Native American lands. Here's the thing that I could never understand. Why in the world do we permit these oil companies to have federal lands anyway? Why do we give them the right to drill? I think if they are not good citizens, you just take away that right. They're out of business. Now, the real underlying thing that we have to do is move our economy away from reliance on oil, coal, and nuclear. As President of the United States, I'll lead the way to a carbon-free and a nuclear-free economy. How do we do that? Make government, imagine this now, make government the engine of sustainability. As President, I'll have every single department of the federal government work on sustainability. Transportation Department has to promote mass transit. The Housing and Urban Development, green housing, natural lighting, recycled materials for housing, passive solar. The Energy Department, stop subsidizing oil, coal, nuclear. Education, promote educational principles. I want to see us make a transition that's so profound. I want to create millions of new jobs. Think about this. Create millions of new jobs, manufacturing wind and solar micro-technologies, tens of millions of them, distributing them to every American home and business, where we bring down our cost of energy, lower our carbon footprint, and start to focus on the vital question of saving our planet. And it's time that we had a president who understood that